Hi friends, today we'll go through guttation. We'll see what we mean by the guttation, what are the structures through which guttation is taking place, and what is the significance of guttation in plants. So we'll see the guttation. By definition, guttation means a loss of water droplets from margins and tips of leaves in plants is called as the guttation. So often we say plants tear or cry. That means there is a loss of water droplets, and that too through the margins or the tips of the leaves. The term guttation was coined by Burgerstein in 1887, and this phenomena is usually occurring during warm and humid nights, and it is observed during morning hours in many herbaceous plants and also few woody plants. Some of the examples where guttation is most prominent: strawberry, Tropiolum, Colocasia, tomato, grasses, nasturtium. These are the examples where you will most often observe the guttation early in the morning during warm and the humid nights. So by definition, guttation means the loss of water droplets, either through the margins or the tips of the leaves. See, just like a plant, there are tears coming or the plant is crying. See, these are some of the examples. If you'll see, this is the strawberry leaf. Here you find these are the droplets at the margins. These droplets are called, these are called as the gutations. So guttation is taking place through the margins. It's in case of strawberry, or in case of wheat plant, you will find in monocots, you will find the tips, there are present these droplets. Or in case of the tomato plant, you'll find the droplets here at the margins, because at monocot you will find at the tip, while as in case of the dicots it will be on the margins because there is a reticulate venation. Here in grasses, in wheat, rice and other plants it's taking place. In case of tomato it is taking place. This is the nasturtium, where you will find prominent guttation occurring on the margins of the leaves. So these are some of the examples where you experience a process of guttation. So let us elaborate this concept. Guttation occurs through specialized structures in these leaves that is called as hydathodes. They are also named as water stoma, or they are called as water pores. They are also called as water safety valves. We will understand why they are called as water safety valves. So they are always open. They occur on margins or tips of the leaf blades. So these hydathodes or these water pores occur on the margins or the tips of the leaf blades. Haberland in 1918 distinguished two types of hydathodes on the basis of their structure. One is active, another is passive. So there is a difference between the two. Active one contains groups of specialized epidermal cells which don't have the cuticle, but they are connected with the internal veins by means of specialized transfer cells. So if you will see the active, these are the guttation droplets, these are the veins, and here you will see the main, which is the central xylem. With the xylem there are present these transfer cells, and the epidermis does not have the cuticle. So their water will be lost through these stomas which will be on the margins of the leaves. Those are called as the active hydathodes. And second one is called as the passive hydathodes. It comprises a loosely arranged, thin-walled, colorless parenchymatous cells, named as epithelium cells, present at the vein endings. So there are present the transfer cells, here are present the epithelium cells, which are colorless and parenchymatous cells. They communicate with outside atmosphere through a permanent pore, which is the open pore or the stoma, and which is guarded by means of immobile guard cells. So actually, if you want to see, suppose this is the structure you have a cuticle here also, but here is present these guard cells which are immobile, and this is the pore here. Below the pore is a cavity which is water filled always. There are present loose cells. These loose cells are called as the epitheme cells, which have an intercellular spaces between them. These are present at the vein endings, or which are called as the xylem endings. So this is called as the Pasteur Hydrothorace. So water will be coming from this into these intercellular spaces under pressure, and then it will be released through this water pore in the form of a guttation drops, which are guttation droplets. So guttation occurs. What is the condition when the guttation can occur? When water absorption by roots is high. That means there is a situation that roots are absorbing water, but there is no transpiration from the aerial shoots. This situation can be, such type of condition can develop in humid nights, under humid nights and early morning. As a result, what happens in the roots when there is no transpiration, but roots have accumulated during the daytime by means of transpiration, they have absorbed the mineral elements within it, and those mineral elements have resulted in the high osmotic potential, or the high osmotic potential, solute potential of the roots. As a result, during night, because of the high solute potential, they will absorb more water from soil due to osmosis. Now there is an absorption of water, and this can occur during night conditions like high humidity, cooler air, warm soils. As a result, because of the osmosis, because of the less transpiration, there is a development of a pressure that is called as the root pressure. So as a result, during night time, during humid nights, during when there is a cooler air and the soil is warm, there is a development of a pressure which is called as the hydrostatic root pressure, which is always a positive pressure. As a result, this positive pressure, which is the root pressure, will act as a driving force for the guttation. It is this pressure which will act as a driving force for the guttation. And since during night the closure, there's a stomata is closed, and also there is a more hydrostatic pressure to release it, to release the pressure, to relieve the plants from the developing root pressure, and also the stomata are closed at night. Hydathodes, they exude droplets of water. So that means this guttation process occurs under the influence of a root pressure. So it thus relieves the plants from developing root pressure. Guttation thus acts as a safety mechanism. That's why we have named these Hydathodes as water safety valves, because they are releasing the pressure which is developed within the plants during humid nights. So water lost through guttation comprises of some organic and inorganic substances, salts, minerals, amino acids, and sugars. It's not a pure water only. Example is aspartic acid, asparagine, and number of the sugars are available there. So when these are present on the leaf early in the morning, there is an evaporation of the liquid droplets. It will left minerals and salt deposits. There will be minerals and salt deposits which will be on the leaf surfaces, and they will be as precipitates. So these precipitates will be present on the leaf, since precipitates will be usually redissolved and reabsorbed by the leaf. So it can lead to a possible leaf injury, because these persons have also found, because minerals are available there, there's a drying of it on the leaves, and they can be absorbed also there. As a result, a possible leaf injury is also possible. Now in rare cases, see, when the guttation droplets are there, in rare cases, bacteria growing on guttation droplets, there may be bacteria growing on it, and they find their entry inside the leaf, because whenever the pore is open, droplets are there, and minerals will be reabsorbed, water will be reabsorbed even through the stomata, and leading to a disease infection. So there is a chances that there can be an infectious diseases, as has been found Tobacco mosaic virus particles have been found in the guttation fluids of tomato by Johnson 1937. There is another this virus which is called as the pepper mild motile virus, which is from capsicum annum, which causes the disease in the capsicum annum. French et al. 1993 has found it. BMV barley mosaic virus in barley and wheat leaves, Ding et al. 2001. So there are some of the diseases also possible because of the gutations. Guttation may reduce the incidence of non-infectious disorder called as edema. Now this is the advantage of the guttation in some of the plants, because guttation causes the release of the water. Sometimes you go for an excess of the watering in certain greenhouse plants, so which will result in the edema, that is the swelling, or the tiny blisters will be formed on the leaves. So edema is caused by an imbalance of the water uptake and loss by the plant. So then when there is a big difference between the absorption and the transpiration, so there's a build-up of the water that will result in the swelling. That swelling is called as the edema. So there can be an edema. Now this edema is in fact by guttation reduces this type of an incidence of edema in the plants. Water retention, once there is a water retention by means of edema, that causes some cells to burst, thus form watery blisters. Suppose edema can be a problem when growing geranium in the greenhouse. So the value of guttation varies among plant species. So we'll discuss this edema as has been seen in case of the geranium and other plants. This is being reduced by means of the guttation. Otherwise, it will cause a disease, which is not a disease, basically infectious disease, but this is a non-infectious disorder, which is caused due to certain environmental factors or due to overwatering. So this guttation values varies among the plant species. Colocasia, this species nymphifolia loses 100 cc of water per day, but exceptionally this species of this Colocasia antiquarium loses 200 cc water per day. So guttation rates also varies among the species. These are the geranium plants where you will see these leaves, they have the blisters on their on the leaves, on the lower surface of the leaves, and these blisters can develop into yellow, these patches, or in case of tomato also. So these are not the disease, basically they are caused to the excess of the water. So it is this excess water which is basically relieved by means of the guttation. So guttation is in a way very significant in plants which are in greenhouses, and it prevents the edema in case of the geranium plants. So in comparison to transpiration, the magnitude of guttation is very low. Since we have finished the transpiration, we have seen 99% of the water is lost by means of the transpiration, and we have seen the quantification of it, how much is lost by means of the transpiration. But in comparison to that, the loss through guttation is very low. This phenomena is not a universal one. It has been reported only in 3, 4, 5 genera belonging to 115 families of both herbaceous and woody plants. So it's of limited occurrence. And let us see now, since we have understood the guttation in a way is the loss of water droplets which contains minerals and which is occurring through superficial Hydathodes, which are also called as the water safety valves. We have also understood the transpiration which is occurring through the stomata, through the aerial parts, under the influence of temperature and other factors. Now, what are the generalized differences between the transpiration and the guttation? The difference between transpiration and guttation can be seen in this table. We have already seen transpiration, it occurs only during daytime. That is when the stomata is open. And the guttation, it mostly occurs during night and early hours of the morning. We have seen the reasons for this phenomena. And also water is lost in the form of water vapor. but here it's lost in the form of liquid form, droplets. Only pure water is lost in transpiration, doesn't contain any minerals. Here, water loss contains both inorganic and organic substances. It occurs through both stomata and lenticels. It occurs through special pores called as hydathodes. It's controlled by stomatal movement. Water pores or hydathodes being open does not exert any influence over guttation. So it's the pressure only which will have an impact on the guttation. Otherwise, hydathodes are open channels, open pores. So it reduces the temperature of a leaf surface, because whenever there is a temperature, it will have a cooling effect on the leaf. There is no such relationship. It usually occurs during hotter periods of the day. It mostly occurs during night or early hours of the morning. It occurs during dry periods. It takes place during humid periods. So it continues even if plant is under water stress. It does not occur under conditions of water deficiency, because it is only when there is a surplus of the water available and there is a humidity, the root pressure is developed. So excessive transpiration leads to plant wilting. We have seen it, though there is a mechanism for closure also, but does not cause loss of turgidity, because there is a surplus of water that remains there. It does not cause the loss of the turgidity. We have seen the major differences between the transpiration and the guttation, and with this we have concluded the guttation. We have seen where the guttation is occurring, why it is called as the plant is crying or a plant tears. So this is a safety mechanism, or it is relieving the plants of a pressure which is developed during humid nights. So with this video, we have finished the transpiration, and there remains only now the factors affecting the rate and the stomatal rate of transpiration and the stomatal movements. I hope you have understood this video, and thank you for your patient listening, and till the next video is uploaded, be happy and be safe. Thank you.